And good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for inviting us to join you this evening. My name is Jessica Tollenaar Cafferty. I'm one of the two co-leads for Best Starts for Kids, and we are delighted to be here with you today. I want to note that we have a change to who will be presenting this evening. My colleagues Victoria Lynn and Elsa Batrisboni were not able to join us, and so Nadine Chan is here in their place. I'll let her introduce herself.
Good evening. Hi, Nadine Chan. I'm pinch hitting here. The Division Director of Health Sciences in Public Health, Seattle-King County, and one of the Best Arts for Kids sponsors.
Wonderful. So we are here this evening just to share an update on Best Starts for Kids and a few details that are pertinent to Burien specifically. We're really excited to begin deepening our relationship with you all. I've been the co-lead along with Dr. Jamelia Jones for a little over a year now. And it really is our intent to be building deep relationships across the county so that we can ensure we're being responsive to the needs and experiences of kids and families across our region. And next slide, please. At Burien, we've invested $67.9 million over the last couple of years. So really exciting levels of investment here. And then this is sort of what I was referencing is that we've served 15,000 people in Burien zip codes over the last 2.5 years. So we've got a few of the organizations that are doing work in Burien highlighted here. And then a really beautiful quote from one of our partners with Navos. They're doing some childcare health consultation work to work with childcare providers. And that includes providers that are located in Burien, so we can make sure that kids have healthy and safe environments and are getting what they need early on. So I'm going to pass it over to Nadine, who's going to share a little bit about communities of opportunity, an area we wanted to highlight this evening.
Great, thank you. So again, Nadine Chan here, pinch hitting for the Interim Director of Communities of Opportunity, Elsa Batrisboni. So Communities of Opportunity is one of our investment areas, and what's really cool about this particular investment area is that it is led by community in partnership with government, public sector, as well as in partnership with philanthropy and private sector. As one of the Best Starts for Kids initiatives, Communities of Opportunity has funded 9 community partnerships, and it includes the Burien Collaborative here in the Burien area. Each of the 9 community partnerships has an award of $855,000 that's split across the 3 years. And these contract periods started in January of last year and will run through December 2025. One of the things on the next slide that I wanted to highlight, as I mentioned, it's fairly unique partnership, a 3-way partnership where a community advisory group leads the work, makes decisions, along with funding and strategic guidance by our philanthropic partners, as well as our public sector partners. And the focus of Communities of Opportunity is on building community power. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight as an example is the Burien Collaborative. One of the events that was hosted recently, last September or so, was an event that was a back to school event, and over 400 members from the Burien area attended this. And had it not been for the collaborative, there probably wouldn't have been the coordination that was involved for all of the service providers who are part of this collaborative to come together to pull this really beautiful event together. Another example that I wanted to acknowledge is, and thank you, Council Member Hugo Garcia, for moderating one of our summer learning opportunities. It's these types of opportunities that help build community power. Coming soon, we would like to invite the City of Burien to join us in a second table event where we are co-hosting, Communities of Opportunity is co-hosting along with philanthropy, a public-private partnership table. And the folks who will be invited are local government as well as community partners and philanthropists. We just recently had one, our first one that was successfully attended by about 60 folks, and we plan on inviting you to the next one, which will come in March. The next slide, moving away from Communities of Opportunity, talk a little bit about what data we use to inform where we invest in Best Starts for Kids. So on the left-hand side, you see a map that shows in King County where we see the most highest density of folks who are age 24 and younger. This is the focus population where we want to invest most of our Best Starts for Kids funding. On the map on the right, you see King County and the Child Opportunity Index. So the areas that are shaded darker represent the areas that we see the greatest opportunity for investment based on over 40 measures that compares neighborhood features that impact child development, education, social, economic, and so on. And moving on to the next slide, you can see the patterns of where Best Starts for Kids has been able to fund and serve. And while we see that Best Starts for Kids is reaching young people in families, generally in the same areas that we saw on the prior maps, there's still more work to do.
Great. So I'm going to wrap us up with just a few sort of forward-looking items. I want to highlight a few funding opportunities with the hopes that they might apply to organizations in Burien or community partners that you may have. There are 3 open funding opportunities that close in the next couple of weeks right now for Best Starts RFPs. One is focused on promoting first relationships, so really early learning, early child care. The second is our infant mortality prevention network, really focused on how we can ensure healthy birth outcomes and healthy infant outcomes. And the last one is mini grants for workforce development. So thinking about how we support this workforce. We also have a survey that is currently open that we are trying to have as many folks as possible across King County complete. That's our workforce development survey. And it will really help inform future investments in workforce development. So that closes November 1st. And the last couple of things I will share, we made a big shift this year. Historically, we're required to do an annual report every year, and it has been, I think, deeply informative and dense. And so this year, one thing we did that I wanted to highlight for you all is we created a year-in review document that is essentially highlights from our annual report. And it's really designed to be accessible and informative and a highlight of the work that we're doing. It's available on our website and our blog in both English and Spanish. So I hope you'll take a look and please share it with your partners. And then finally, our data dashboard is something that I always like to highlight. We've provided you in the short amount of time we have tonight with some data around what's happening in Burien, but our data dashboard is updated regularly and is a place that you can look by content area, by zip code, by any number of measures to really get at what you're interested in learning about our work. So that QR code takes you right to it. It's also accessible through our website. That wraps up our presentation for this evening. There's some contact information on here. Unfortunately, Nadine's contact isn't on there, but if you reach out to me, if you have questions for her, I'll make sure you get to the right place, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Of course. I mean, can we? Oh, no. Did it work for you? Okay. We can double check that and make sure that the slides that we share over with you all have the correct QR code.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions from council members? Councilmember Moore?
Yeah, I was going like this, like, to raise my hand or not. I first just wanted to say, Nadine, if you hadn't said that you were pinch hitting, I would never, ever have guessed, because it was really clear that that information was known to you, and that you've worked with it in depth. I guess I want to ask, is the future plan for Best Start for Kids, is it to go levy to levy indefinitely? Is there a plan somewhere down the line for this to become something that is permanently funded, or is it something that will be funded from levies?
That's a beautiful question, and I'm happy to answer it with sort of an unsatisfying answer. At this time, the plan is to go through 2027 and reassess at that time. As you know, we have a significant shift in that we'll be bringing on a new executive, and typically the executive plays a significant role in determining the amount to put on the ballot and the length of time to ask for. We have sort of gone back and forth about the trade-offs between a longer levy or something that's more permanent. I think certainly we would love to think about how we can make sure that this is work that continues indefinitely in partnership with community. And I think it will very much depend on the next couple of years.
Thank you. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you so much for the presentation. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the shout out. It was my pleasure to participate in the event here in Buren about a month and a half ago. Great question by Councilmember Sarah Moore actually made me think about levy, that this is something that is going to extend to 2027. I was just wondering if there's any possibility that we may be able to connect with whoever ran your levy initiative when it ran. We are in the midst of preparing to launch our own levy, and I think it would be great to connect with whoever on the team ran that too, just to see what best practices were done. Would be great if you could forward any contact information to our city manager or myself. I appreciate it. And then the second part is in this second initiative, in the second levy, is it still funding the COO program? Is Best Start for Kids still funding the Communities of Opportunity program?
Thank you for these questions. I think from the perspective of executive staff planning for levy renewal, that's something that any of us would be happy to connect with, and I can follow up. In terms of the campaign work, that's kept separate, but I can certainly connect with our government relations team to make sure that you get that information as well if it's helpful. And yes, we are delighted to be continuing to fund Communities of Opportunity in partnership with Seattle Foundation. We included a little bit of information in the slides that you have, but always happy to provide additional context if it's helpful. Is there anything you'd add?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'll just add a little bit of info for my colleagues. Communities of Opportunity ran a fantastic program on commercial real estate displacement and impacts to legacy businesses. It's one of the programs that I worked on before in partnership with them before I left the county, and it resulted in a legacy business moving into Buren from the unincorporated, or expanding. They're not moving, they're expanding. Fantastic program. Salvadorian Bakery out of White Center expanding into Buren is a direct result of partnership and this great outcome from Best Start for Kids through COO. So would love to just stay in contact with that program, since I know it's hugely impactful. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions, Councilmember Garcia. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.